Welcome to Shorty Supercoach. Welcome to the tips. This is a scheduled video because Shorty's laptop is currently getting fixed. I hope the screen got bowled over at my party on Saturday night. So here we are, getting the screen fixed again, twice in 5 weeks. Never had a screen issue ever before, but here we are. So I'm going to get stuck in the tips. I had a really good week in the tips this week, so I'm hoping I moved up a few spots. I think I should. But yeah, I think this week coming up, I'd really love to see what you guys are thinking, because I think it's one of the toughest tipping weeks of the year. I was looking at it before. I still don't know. Like, I'm filming this on a Monday night. I still don't know which way I'm going to go with some of it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to chuck your tips in below. Got Melbourne like we wanted. I don't think many would have tipped the Crows, and crucially got Richmond over Brisbane, which would have helped me in quite a few. Just before we look at the tips, or what I'm tipping, I'm going to dive in, and I'm hoping to be 7th or 8th. I'll take that. I think I've been as high as 6th this year. I dropped down to about 13th a few weeks back, but I really brought it back with an 8 there, and I reckon I'll be right up there overall for this week. So there you go, the 4th. Oh, Steve, well done, mate. Steve was at the goal kicking, good stuff. And total score, I'm now just 3 tips off Peter up top there, and he's 1 clear. So he's in front of Liam, Bat Rooney, Ash, Chotis, Tommy, and Chokek there. We also got Aussie, Cotsy, and you can just sort of round yourself out there for sort of the top 20 or so. But look, it's all there to be done ahead of me. It's still a chance. And honestly, when you're trying to make up tips, you need these sort of weeks where there's quite a few 50-50, 60-40 games. So honestly, if I play my cards right this week, I'm a chance to make up some more tips. My margin is okay. It's okay. Like, if you look at my margin, obviously he's got me covered by quite a bit there, but I've got him here, got him here. That's a solid margin, but it's close. Got him, and it's pretty close for here. So, it's always handy at this stage of the year to just have your margin solid. But let's have a look at these tips. I will say there's a few that I'm not 100% sure on, but, I'm going to have a bit of a think. One of my more confident ones is tipping the Ds. I do think they will win. I'll tip them by 16 points. It's just part of me thinks they looked back in business last week, and another part of me just also thinks that Collingwood, they've been getting the job done so many times. They've been up for a long time. I just think a combination of the D's being back in form, and I don't know if the Pies can keep finding a way. So I'm tipping the D's there. This one's really tough. I'm going to tip Hawthorn. Part of me says Gold Coast are a better team, but being in Tasmania, I don't know if the Suns have ever played there. I'll have a bit of a look at that throughout the week, but I just think Gold Coast have let me down a couple of times, against Collingwood. They let me down the other week against someone as well. Can't remember who it was, but they've been a bit hit and miss, a bit hard to get a read on. Hawthorn have been pretty solid. I know they lost last week, but up until then they've been going well. So I'm feeling like I'll tip them. Sometimes I just sort of think, if you're going to go against the grain, you better be confident. And I'm not confident enough at this point. So I'm going to go the Hawks. And this one, look, real 50-50 game. I actually thought the percentages might even be closer. But my rule I gave myself 5 weeks ago, if it's a 50-50 style game and it involves the Giants, you tip against those pricks, because they have let me down that many times. I can't trust them. Can't trust the Bombers too much more either, but they actually have picked up and found a bit of form when it has really been all over for them in the season, but they have found some form. Now this could be the toughest tip of the whole round. Dogs versus Freo at Marvel. Now, how do we get a read on these teams? Freo can't win at home. They've actually had a good record away from home. The Dogs, their season's absolutely on the line. But the Fremantle Football Club, their top 4 hopes are on the line. Dogs have been better. They're tough under the roof. They really are. I don't know. I think Fremantle's a better team than them if all things are equal. I do not know which way to go with this. I am going to check the teams. At this stage, I am slightly leaning Dogs. But, I would like to see the teams. Cats, got to tip the Cats at home every day of the week. Now, this is the money maker. This is the one, 50-50. I'm going to go with Port. The Tigers were good last week for me. They got over Brisbane, which was a handy tip for me. But for a long time, it looked like they were going to struggle to get the W. So I just think Port have been playing really good footy. Yeah, they got off to a shocking start this year. But I think they are actually a finals team. They just butchered it at the start of the year. And, that it is what it is. You've got to play well at the start of the year. But I do think right here, right now, they're actually a really solid team. And in Adelaide, I think you have to respect what they can do. I don't think the Tigers are the side they once were. In fact, I know they're not. At the G, they're a formidable force. But I'm going to tip Port Adelaide. Not confidently, but I reckon they'll get the job done. I'd love to hear which way you're going with it. Got to go the Swans. Got to go Brisbane at the Gabba. Honestly, I thought there might be more than 9% of people that went the Blues. I think this could be a tight game. I mean, Carlton really slipped up last week losing to the Crows. But they're a pretty solid side. But look, Brisbane, they'll be fuming. You got to respect what they do at home. So I'll go with them. And probably maybe Dogs Freo wasn't the toughest one. Maybe this one is West Coast versus Adelaide. Now, I think Adelaide are a rebuilding team that are a really tough team to beat at home. But once they leave Adelaide Oval, they're pretty inconsistent. I just don't know what you're going to get. The Eagles, they've pulled it together a touch. They have been better this last 6 weeks. And at home, they've been solid. I'm going to tip West Coast for the moment. Nick Nat is back. I think that's bigger than you might think. And they're just starting to get a few players in some more form, like Luke Shuey's been better and that type of thing. I'm going to have to think about this one as well. I've got a few tips I've got to think about. Look at the teams, let it simmer throughout the week, see how I feel. But for now, that's the way I'm going to go. But I told you, this is a bloody tough week of tips. Honestly, it's the sort of week you could genuinely pick 4. And if things go right, you could pick 7 or 8. And you could make up a lot of tips. So I hope that is me and I hope that is you climbing up the ranks of our tipping competition. So let me know how you ended up with all those tips. Chuck your, how you worked it out below. If you got any comments, feel free to chuck those through as well. But I'll be back soon, pending laptop screen repair. But yeah, good to have you on board and I'll chat to you later. Cheers, guys.